Welcome in to College Football Mornings. It is Wednesday, which means that it is the PrizePicks 5 and 5. I am your host, Chris Moxley. You can find me at ChrisMoxley19 on Twitter and everything I do at campus2canton.com. If you're watching this video on YouTube, make sure that you are liking and subscribing to our YouTube page. We have a ton of great content each week, including videos from Devy Debate, Bet on C2C, our recruiting show, The Official, Friday Night Lights, and again, College Football Mornings, which is live every single morning during the weekday of the college football season. I won't bore you too long. Let's dive into our PrizePicks 5 and 5. Again, if you are not a user of PrizePicks currently, you can sign up using the C2C promo code, and that gets you a $100 match on your first deposit and gives you $29.99 towards a membership, any membership at the Campus Canton site. I'm not sure there's a better deal out there than that one that also gives you that membership discount. Let's kick it off with our 5 and 5. Hopefully we get you out of here in 5 minutes and build some winning lineups again. Last week wasn't as strong as the previous two were, but hey, it's gotta keep rolling, keep with our process. Start with Phil Dracovic, the Boston College quarterback, over 205 pass yards versus Wake. I just don't think this Wake secondary is very good. I think Boston College is going to have to score to keep up in this game. I think you can also play the Zay Flowers overs as well because of that. But I'm going to stick with a 200.5 line on Dracovic. I just think that number's a little low. I think that it should probably be 225, 230. And I think we're getting just a little bit of value on that one. Head over to my neck of the woods, Eastern Carolina. Keaton Mitchell, the running back for the Pirates, has been really good this season. Again, just a really dynamic player in the AAC. I think that he could post another big week against UCF this week. I am targeting the over 105.5 rushing and receiving yards. He's been just super involved in the receiving game. He had 8 receptions last week. He had 4 receptions this past weekend, and he had 3 a few games ago. He's been knocked out of 2 games, though, with injury, and in the 3 of the 4 games where he has played the full allotment of snaps, he has gone over 149 yards in each. I think the UCF defense is pretty good. I don't think it's good enough to slow down a player like Keaton Mitchell, keep him under 105.5 total rushing and receiving yards. Jake Bobo, UCLA wide receiver, over 11.5 fantasy points. This number's too low, in my opinion, as well. I think that PrizePicks has, full disclosure, we're all in overs today. I think that there's a lot of value on the overs versus the unders so far this week before we get any big movement. So I'm on Jake Bobo over 11.5 fantasy points. UCLA gets Oregon this week, and I think that matchup is, in theory, a little scary. I think Oregon's the better team. Their defense is obviously playing a lot better than they were maybe at the beginning of the season, but their secondary is still allowing explosive plays. They are 117th in passing explosiveness, and I think that that's an area where 6'5" weapon like Jake Bobo can put up points. He can also put up points in the red zone because, hey, he's 6'5", and is kind of a mismatch in the end zone. So I think there's a couple ways that he gets to this number, actually, which I think it should be like 13.5, 14. So I think you're getting some good value on this number, like Jake Bobo over 11.5 fantasy points. George Helani over 70.5 rush yards versus Air Force. Air Force's defense is fine, but I don't think it's anything to write home about. I think they've had better matchups that have influenced this rushing explosiveness number more so than you would think. So they're 63rd, which is pretty much average. But they've allowed some big rushing games to good running backs like Titus when they went up against Wyoming. I think Helani is a good running back, and with Talon Green under center at Boise, they're just playing a lot better. And the running backs are finding more lanes because of Green's rushing threat. I think 70.5 is a good number. Obviously, there's no Gene T number, but I'm interested to see if that gets posted anywhere because I think that he might have a big game as well. Final line is Ollie Jennings, the Old Dominion wide receiver, over 6.5 receptions versus Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern's pass defense is pretty atrocious, 115th in explosiveness, but they're a team that's going to score regardless. I think that they put up points against a good Old Dominion defense. They have scored more than 30 points in every single game, but one this year that was against UAB, who has a very good defense. I think Georgia Southern's going to score a bunch of points, and I think that this is going to be a high-scoring matchup. The same thing that we saw last week for Old Dominion against Coastal Carolina and from Georgia Southern against JMU. I think both these teams can seriously put up points, and I think we're going to see that this week. I think that Ollie Jennings is the focal point of this passing offense, and over 6.5 receptions is probably a pretty safe number. I think he probably gets double-digit targets, and with a catch percentage as high as it is in his role, 6.5 feels like a pretty good number. So I'll run back through all five, and I'll let all of us out of here. Phil Dracovic over 205 passing yards versus Wake Forest. Keaton Mitchell over 105.5 rushing and receiving yards versus UCF. Jake Bobo over 11.5 fantasy points versus Oregon. George Halani over 70.5 rush yards versus Air Force. And Ollie Jennings over 6.5 receptions versus Georgia Southern. Again, make sure that you like and subscribe to the Campus Duquesne page. We are also doing giveaways. There is a bunch of information on the YouTube page about that. You could win a Bijan Robinson, Jackson Tajigba, or Jordan Addison jersey. Make sure that you're just following us all on social media as well. You'll find a lot of great information and a lot of giveaways there. But that is it for PrizePicks 5 and 5. Let's win some money this week, folks.